uh, Vision India Forum welcomes the great spokesperson, the former Cabinet Minister, Government of India, an erudite Marathi Manus, Shri Prakash Javadekar, a man who represents the ethos, culture, values, social, as well as a man with great repository of knowledge and experience behind him. Shri Prakash Javadekar has donned the hats which has been basically the playground for greats like Maulana Azad as well, because he was also the HRD Minister of the Government of India. He also held the portfolios as a Cabinet Minister for Information Broadcasting. He was also a Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Heavy Industries, something which has been in the limelight of news because of the disinvestment issues of the last few years under the current Finance Minister, where the ministry has been shifted to. And most importantly, he was also in charge of the Environment, Forest and Climate Change Ministry, something which the government has been really focusing upon, especially in the wake of the climate change conventions and the COP28, which was recently held in Dubai in the month of December, which was graced by the Honorable Prime Minister. Now, Prakash Javadekar ji, despite having all the great experiences today, will be focusing upon good governance, an important and relevant issue for a country like India, because 25th December was also celebrated as a good governance day for the nation, being the birthday of the former Prime Minister, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. And Prakash Javadekar ji would be also taking us through a few small case studies of good governance which have been forgotten. But then if we focus upon those kind of case studies and extrapolate them as a national campaign that will hold the nation in good stead and link the entire issues inextricably with sustainability, because sustainability, climate, humanity, ecosystem, planet, they are all inextricably linked. Who better to speak about all these issues than Shri Prakash Javadekar? Thank you, sir, for joining us in the Amrit Kal series. Over to you.
Yes, Amit, Modi ji's vision of Amrit Kal is really ignited the minds of people of India that we have to achieve something. We have to reach somewhere. And yes, there is a hope in India. India can do it. So that's the spirit. All over I see. So that is my first observation. How I define good governance. A, there are 5, 6 things in good governance. First, it must have a purpose, mean national interest. It should not be in an individual interest, it should be in the national interest. There has to be law and order. Then transparency, that is accountability also, but transparency and ease of living. Then efficiency and sustainability. All these put together is good governance. And therefore, I will be going through one aspect of ease of living, quoting only in 3 sentences the forgotten, as you said rightly, forgotten initiatives, but which have long impact on ease of living to the people of India. First was the self-attestation. Nobody talks about it. But self-attestation, it was started by Britishers of attestation because they never believed in the people of India. So they wanted a stamp of their officers on any document so that can be accepted. So that was the logic or philosophy behind that. Modi ji said, I trust in my people, and therefore he allowed that self-attestation. Otherwise, people has to run from door to door and get signatures of gazetted officer. It was too running away. Now that has gone completely, and people are doing self-attestation. It's a huge, small step, but a huge impact. Second is this, we have forgotten that we used to have red beacons as ministers. But in one of our meeting, he said, from today, we are disbanding these red beacons And people used to talk culture, VIP culture. But when he abolished the system of rate become to the ministers, people mentioned it in a very small news. Yes, we are said for himself that he is Pradhan Sevak, not Pradhan Mantri. So that is the way this this was important. Third forgotten thing is we used to hear and read news about railway track accidents, uh, school kids going, bus was by rail, unmanned gates, crossing the unmanned gates. Now there is no such news because there is no something like so. People forget because there is no unmanned gates. Then there was interesting aspect, interesting concept of dairy farm in army. Army used to, and thousands of sepoys and others used to graze the cattle, milk the cattle, and take their care and provide to the. But when Modi reviewed it, it was providing only percent of their requirement. With whom you purchase the 90% remaining? They said we purchase from market. So he said now purchase 100% from market, but we will close down these farms and we will make all sepoys to work in uh, military and not on dairy farms. So these are small steps. Jivan Praman. Earlier in November, month of November, people used to travel from abroad also. Every year, certificate was to be given by the bank where your account is. You have to go to that particular branch. But now that is over. With Jivan Praman, 3 crore people are doing it from the home comfort on their computers and they get the living certificate. There is no need to rush to bank. Then there is DigiLocker. Can you imagine? 500 documents, different kinds of documents, can be stored in DigiLocker and they are accepted all over. They are verified. And more than 12 crore people have taken benefit of it. But no others don't know it. If they know it, you need not carry the bunch of files for your documents. You have the documents there in your phone and you can show it and that's valid. Even this digital India is the biggest thing what has happened for ease of living. In that, I will first quote what is not recognized or what is not called a record. We are the country where data is the cheapest in the world. Otherwise, data in Europe and America is too costly. People are afraid to talk long calls and do digital downloading. But now in our case, it is so cheap that everybody has now 80 crore smartphones. It's a huge, huge, huge revolution because of this. Ration used to have many complaints. Now there is POS machine. And I know very senior ministers used to say in parliament that how people will put the POS machine, how it will work. There is no electricity, there is no internet. But all over India now POS machine is working nice. And ration is delivered by thumb impression, recognizing the correct person and identifying it with their Aadhaar link card and they get the ration. So there are so many things Modi ji has brought to provide ease of living. Now I come to sustainability, because that is very important aspect of, and I will particularly uh, focus on sustainability, what we are preaching to the world and what we are practicing for generations. Modi ji believes that sustainability is our way of life. We live with nature. We are the only country where birds, animals, even the uh, reptiles are worshipped. So nowhere in the world, animals or trees or everything is worshipped. This is only in India. This is our way of life, to be with the nature. And therefore, with that, he even gave the example in his very first address that we don't dry our clothes in dryer. It is the sun drying using the solar energy. So this is our way of life. And therefore, when he was Gujarat Chief Minister, he did three things. I remember it vividly. He first had the first department for climate change. Then he had full of climate change and sustainability. Then he built solar panels on canal itself, irrigation canals. What it helped? It helped. A, water evaporation was not there, so water saved. Then, because water was flowing below, the energy generation was more, and space was saved because there was already space. And therefore, he always thinks in terms of sustainability. These are two small but very important examples, I think. And therefore, when we went to COP, I was Minister of Climate Change in 2015, he led us from the front. He put before the world two basic concepts of lifestyle. He said, unless we amend our lifestyle and make it eco-friendly, we will not achieve the goal of net zero in near future. So lifestyle was his, and from that only life mission has been drawn. So living with nature and this lifestyle changes, he emphasized and well accepted. And then he talked about climate justice. Yes, he is of the firm conviction that every nation has to take action. But developed countries, which have developed because of the carbon emissions of last 200 years, they prospered with emissions. And now we are suffering. And they have to take more responsibility. That was very clear. And so he talked about climate justice. Even in Dubai conference, he said that what we decide is many times injustice on all of us, but still we want to be part of the team because we have to move forward. So that is the, and I know very critically that last 2 days, the accord was not in sight and agreement was not reached, and there was a crisis-like situation whether the Paris will become flop. At that time, Modi ji, uh, that time it was Barack Obama. So Barack Obama, Xi Jinping, then Modi ji, and France President Hollande. All four spoke, and Modi ji vehemently put that we must arrive at an accord, we must reach an understanding, and that was made possible because of his real leadership, and world could understand. And in that only he started International Solar Alliance. This was the first initiative. Actually, during Manmohan ji's time, when he was chief minister, he had suggested that we must have the alliance of Suryaputra countries. What is Suryaputra? Countries which get good sunlight. between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn. So that these are the countries which get full light and they can produce more efficiently the solar energy. And so he said we must have alliance of these countries, but that never happened. And Modi ji did it in very first year of 2015, and more than 100 countries are now active participants and partners in the progress. Second, he put impossible target, which we thought they are impossible. 100 gigawatts of solar energy when there was only 2 gigawatts of solar energy with us. He talked about 100 gigawatts. And what's a wonder? He pushes the program so hard that now from 100 he went to 175, and now last year he declared 500 gigawatts. We had already targeted non-fossil fuel energy mix capacity at 40%. Now he has increased to 50%. We are the leader. We are the only country which have talked about forest gain. And I'm happy in last 6-7 years continuously, we are gaining in forest. Tree cover inside the forest and tree cover outside the forest. So both is happening. So this is also his leadership. And we are the only country, G20 had gathered in Delhi. He always tells that we are the only country which is implementing and over-implementing our NDCs, nationally determined contribution, which were presented in Paris. And so for stocktake also, we are the only country giving our bilateral reports, biennial reports, and more importantly, the full plan. Now, last year he declared that 2070 would be the year when we will achieve net zero. So in that very important initiative. And so I have seen Modi in action and his vision leadership, which all world leaders now accept. He has also formed a coalition of disaster resilient infrastructure. So there are various things which India was a backseater. Now India is a front seater. He leads from the front, and his speech is heard, rapt attention by all the world leaders. Even I remember Barack Obama came to listen to Modi ji's speech in General Assembly, though he has scheduled for some other events. He came there specifically and listened in rapt attention to what Modi wants to say. So this is where India has reached. This is the practice of sustainability. His mantra for progress is sustainability. We must increase our energy efficiency. We must reduce our energy intensity. We must save water. We must have more greenery. We must save electricity, everything, and citizen actions. This is the base of his whole philosophy. And therefore, taking cue from that, when I was education minister, I started the campaign that universities also become smart campuses. Means green, more greenery, more eco-friendly activities. But now I'm mentoring a NGO movement which is now concentrating on universities, because the practicing net zero campuses is really a new kind of training to the millions of students. More greenery, saving electricity, saving water, generating electricity, and at the same time, more importantly, having eco-friendly activities all over, and a thought process that India has a unique role to play, and India, all generations, they should not be afraid, because let us not forget, that's my last point. Let us not forget that India is doing all this despite many odds. Odds are as follows. We have only 2.5% of the world's landmass. We have 17% of people and 17% of population, human being, and 17% of cattle. Both require land, water, and food. So we are self-sufficient in this, and we are managing it. And we have only 4% of fresh rainwater resources. And therefore, with these constraints, India is doing what others could not do, and India is moving ahead. Modi ji has taught, as Gandhi ji taught, sustainability. Modi ji is now practicing sustainability. And I think that is the real truth. That is the way forward for achieving our goal of Vikasit Bharat, developed India by 2047, because sustainability and lifestyle is the mantra of all these developments.
Prakash
Thank you,
ji, thank
Amit.
you so much. Prakash ji, thank you so much. Just 5 minutes of little bit of interaction, if you kindly allow.
Yeah, please.
Because
No,
I took 20,
no,
I took
no,
25 minutes.
I will, no, yes, 20 minutes, but it is already 10:53. I have to catch flight and I have
5 minutes,
baggage.
5 minutes maximum.
5 minutes. Sorry.
Development, consumption, and sustainability. How do you strike a balance? Because, for example, you talked about the mobile subscription, 80 crore subscribers, smartphone users, radiations that are developed, because we have got the least cost data in the country. Data is very, very cheap. It's almost free. Now, in that case, in that scenario, what is the cost that the nation and the world pays for such kind of consumption, kind of economic models?
This is a good model because you empower people through this. And this doesn't create, see, we have made new laws and waste management rules for mobile and electronic waste management rule, because it's a corporate corporate, no, it is the producer's responsibility to manage the waste and collect the waste. So that will not go in Rampur or Muradabad, but that will reach the right waste management people. And therefore, we have made the rules, and now many state governments are awakened to the reality and they are also practicing it. So people are also, while taking new phone, are returning the old phone in the store, so that that goes to the proper waste management.
So when we talk about, for example, when we talk about something like social media, wherein you've been quite vociferous in terms of your regulatory approach during your stint as a minister as well, in the country which is as populous and data friendly now, the policies are data friendly. Social media is something which is being linked with make or break a nation kind of thing. It drives every thought process in this country. What are your views on good governance vis-a-vis social media usage?
Social media is a double-edged weapon. What we see on WhatsApp many times is so wrong. So we started the fake fact check unit, because now fact check has also a color in it. We started the neutral fact checking mechanism in EIB. We go to the official concerned department, get the truth, and publish it with proofs. But I have seen many fact checkers which only check as fact the rumors which are not really true, they're fake. So this will always be a challenge, like a police thief game. There are notorious elements, they will be doing the damaging thing. But the overall robust common sense of people is really what matters. I always tell that till in Hindi movies, the hero wins and the villain gets defeated. That means people by large have that moral values, and therefore they understand good and bad, and that, but it is now with deep fake, it is very difficult. Last question, because I have to rush.
सर मतलब आपको छोड़ना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है, लेकिन एनीवेज फटाफट दो तीन क्वेश्चन करते हैं। एक है कि अभी क्रिएटिविटी गेट्स इम्पैक्टेड because of the political narratives being driven. Each party, especially the parties in power, they try to have a grasp over. You got the question. How do you counter the kind of opponent narrative about creativity being throttled?
No, no.
Because you were also the
See,
information minister.
when Nehruji was the prime minister, the first act he made was regulating the press freedom. We have not done this. We have, in India, you can criticize government, and all YouTube channels and many others are doing in their ways, and we have not stopped anybody. But now, even in law, we have removed sedition, and we have brought the country if you are Deshdroha, not Rajadroha. So you can criticize the government. That's a full freedom. But no fake news and no moves against nation.
Final
National.
question, sir, because it will continue as HRD minister. HRD minister, what are probably if you were in the seat today after the new education policy which came into effect during your tenure as HRD minister,
Yes.
you
Yes.
in July 2020. Now, if I may kindly ask you, you think in the last 3 years it has taken shape in the right direction?
Yeah, because education is a concurrent list, it's a very difficult thing uh, because it is a state subject in primary schools and even higher education. But now I am seeing a great movement happening in higher education, and it is now demand driven because students and parents want national education policy to be implemented and get that freedom, get that quality, get that upgradation, and therefore everybody is demanding, and ultimately institutes, colleges, universities, schools are also implementing it. It's a good turnout, and Prime Minister is again leading from the front in education because
States
he
like
thinks that
States
education
like
and health.
Karnataka, your views, what they are doing, Bengal, Karnataka, they are trying to.
No, see these 12 states which are non-BJP state, they have converted everything into pro-Modi and against Modi. So that's very bad. That is not the thought by which people can make progress. All have to be united for the national interest. Thank you, Amit.
प्रकाश जी, I'll probably last question, please just one more question. पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स था आपके साथ, अभी पार्लियामेंट अटैक्स हुए, पार्लियामेंट में ये जो हुआ 2001 में हुआ था, 2001 again repeated, these kind of small, this kind of incidents, do you think will have an impact on 2024 Lok Sabha polls?
I will tell you, when during Atalji's time, the first parliament attack happened, all party leaders went to his chamber and said, we are with government. Here, the next moment they started politics. That's the difference. Thank you.